Hello, everyone. Well, one of my enemies has returned. I'll turn you around and I'll show you what that is. It's very beautiful, but not very beautiful halfway through April. But I am thankful that we have this rather than what's going on in the southern United States where they're having tornadoes and devastation. So I will take this over that, and I hope that all of you are safe and well. But I'll turn you around and show you my enemy that has returned. Look at that. It's all back, and it's going to be here for a few days, and it's still coming down a little bit. Oh my goodness. It is very beautiful, but I don't want to see it this time of year. So we are going to continue on with our questions, and today the question is, what is something you need to forgive yourself for? And this is a rough one. It's probably, a long list. I know for me it is a long list because there's a lot of days that I've decided that I've failed, that I haven't measured up, that I've done the wrong thing. I've failed my family, I've failed my God, lots of different things. But the biggest one right now that I need to forgive myself for is not reaching out to my dad in the last few years of his life. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that, my dad passed away, 2.5 years ago, and he was an alcoholic, and that is what took his life. I'll give you just if you haven't seen those videos, I'll just give you a slight backstory on it. I hadn't seen my dad for probably about 10 years because watching him destroy himself in end-stage alcoholism was not something that I could put myself through, and not something I wanted to put my children through. So I took myself out of his life. He did not pursue me either. So the fault doesn't entirely lie with me. And, I've heard all of the things, and I know all of the things. It's important to take yourself out of a relationship that's harmful. He would have continued to do what he was doing, whether or not I was around. He chose these are things I've heard. He chose his drug of choice over his family, la, 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 la. But, and at the time when I separated myself, I was a young mother, and I just could not handle the pain of watching him do that. And I did not want my children to see that either. And at the same time, my father was a very kind man, obviously fighting some demons that he couldn't conquer on his own. But he was a very kind and loving man, and the part where I need to forgive myself is the last few years of his life. I, not continually, but every so often, had the still small voice tell me different things that I could do to connect with my dad. And I ignored them because selfishly, I did not want to feel the pain that I knew I would feel if I did contact with him. But the things that God was asking me to do were the things that I talk about that we should do, simple acts of kindness, simple acts of love. And I just didn't do those things. I just ignored it. And I really, in my mind, thought that I would have another chance, that my dad would have some sort of accident and sober up, and then I would be able to rekindle that relationship. But that is not what happened. He died. He's gone. And so at this point, I've forgiven him. I love him very much still. I have memories when I was a child that he was so good to me. And there is a lot about me that is like him, even though he wasn't around all the time to influence me, I guess. But I think there's things that are inborn in us that we inherit from our parents. And a lot of things that my dad was, I am. And I'm thankful for that. I did get his hair, so all this hair is from my dad. But I have forgiven him for what he chose and the life that he lived. And yeah, I love him very much. But I need to forgive myself for not being obedient to God, to that still small voice, and not reaching out to my dad in the last few years of his life. I don't think it would have changed his chosen path, but at least he would have known, my dad would have known that he was loved by his daughter and loved by his grandchildren. And my grandchildren, or my children, never really met him. They didn't know him, which I need to forgive myself for that as well, because aside from his addiction, they missed out on a really incredible man. So it's time for me to forgive myself. And, you know, we confess our sins one to another. So that's what this is about today. I don't necessarily feel like it was a sinful thing that I did, but I think when you share the ways that you are feeling like you're failing and you get that out, I feel like it gives it less power and it's easier to, you know, kind of accept yourself in that way. So that's my confession for today, I guess. I need to forgive myself that I didn't reach out to my dad in the end, that I need to cast off the lie and the thought that I wasn't a good daughter, and just give myself, allow God to give me some peace over that, because it has been almost 3 years and it's time. You can see it's kind of funny, you can see his urn is right here, which I really didn't want in my house, but I'm glad it's here now. It just kind of reminds me. I have a few other pieces of his things that I held on to for whatever reason. The jacket that you see me wearing outside, the blue one, and then also the plaid one were his. He was a very small man, so my things, or his things, fit me in a way. But anyway, yeah, your question I'm rambling on, which I know you guys maybe mind or don't mind, whatever. But that's our question for today. I've lost myself here in thought. Question for today is, what do you need to forgive yourself for? And it's a tough one. And yeah, I look forward to your answers. And also, we reached 1,000 subscribers over the weekend, which is unbelievable. And thank you so much. I'm still kind of like, what in the world? But anyway, that's your question. I hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday. We are back on the homework assignment. So what do you need to forgive yourself for today? Live and love out of the way you were created.